What's up, everyone? Rob here. Welcome back to the live stream. Another beautiful Thursday morning. Happy Veterans Day to everyone out there. Maybe we've got some veterans in the stream at some point. Maybe we'll get some. I know we have some Black Rifle Coffee fans out there, so maybe some veterans too. But welcome back to the stream, and let's switch over to the charts right here. So we've got a lot to look at today, and in fact, the first thing that we want to start with is Bitcoin, which actually is taking a bit of a tumble. It was near all-time highs. Now it's down about $4,000 from where it was, closer to 3,000 now. But if you look, you can see that they just took a very sharp drop right here. And who knows what that was from? Maybe just a big whale selling, but it could be foreboding of things to come, right? I've heard some predictions both ways. I've heard Bitcoin's price is going to crash. I've also heard Bitcoin to $100,000 by the end of the year. So in just in less than 2 months, some people think Bitcoin's going to 100,000. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. It'll be interesting to see that. I'm fine with it either way. I'm still just going to keep holding on to the Bitcoin PROG bad news, PROG bad earnings call. If we look, we can see the PROG earnings did not have a great impact on them. I didn't watch the earnings call live, and it looks like they didn't lose as much as was expected. So let's see what happened with the PROG earnings call. Let's see. This is my first time looking at it. I was tied up last night, so I didn't actually watch the PROG earnings. I looked at the chart very briefly and saw that they were down on the news. But let's see what the earnings on PROG is all about. So Progenity reports Q3 loss lags revenue estimates. Okay, so the revenue was lower than expected, but quarterly loss of 38 cents per share versus the estimate of 47, so not bad. And they did decrease their loss by quite a bit compared to a year ago. They were losing $1 per share. So earnings surprise of 19.15%. So they did have an earnings beat. It was expected that the company would post a loss of 80 cents per share. Oh, that's way back when. So over the last 4 quarters, they've surpassed expectations 3 times. And they posted revenues of $0.18 million for the quarter, missing the estimate by 98%. Geez, so let's see. They've lost about 35% of their value since beginning of the year. Okay, so it looks like they just missed revenue. Yeah, and Joseph says he's out. He's out of PROG. Considering it, I'm considering. I think at $3, if we really dip and hold below 3, I'd probably look to exit around there. But who knows? We'll see what happens at market open. We'll see what happens. I mean, maybe we'll get back up above the 320 support, and we'll potentially be able to hold there. But it'll be tough to say with PROG. Obviously, not a good thing that they're moving down on earnings. We would have liked to see them moving up, but so be it. That's how it is sometimes. DWAC slightly green. It looks like we closed at 58.17 and now we're at 58.34. So we've got about a 17-cent gain right there. And the Rivian IPO. Who was watching Rivian yesterday? We didn't peek at it, but I don't think it. Yeah, it didn't IPO until we had ended the stream already. So I wasn't watching the Rivian IPO live, but I did check on it a couple of times throughout the day just on my phone, and it looks like Rivian did decently well, right? They were supposed to IPO for much less than this, I believe. So let's look into the Rivian IPO. What were they meant to IPO for? It looks like they had a very volatile day and have been rising in after hours and pre-market just a little bit. So let's see. Let's pull up the info. Silver says morning. Good morning, Silver. Okay, so they priced its IPO at $78 per share, and they ended up, just due to demand, opening over $100 per share. So cool stuff for Rivian, right? They're an EV company. I think they have over $100 billion valuation as it stands. Let me check and make sure that's the case, but I'm pretty sure that is what they're valued at. So, okay, not quite. $98 billion market cap on Rivian, but doing pretty good in SOFI. Yeah, Hero, thank you for pointing that out. SOFI Technologies, they beat their earnings. We'll take a peek at SOFI real quick. SOFI is up big, right? They closed the day around $20.34, and currently they're sitting at $23.68. So they've moved quite a bit in after hours off this earnings news. So, well, AR15 Glockalized, I got 7 shares of Rivian. Nice. Yeah, that sounds like a good buy. It sounds like depending on when you bought yesterday, you could actually be up a decent amount, right? They're up pretty big in after hours and pre-market, right? About 8%. So especially, if you were buying towards the lower end of this. Well, we'll see what happens with them. Over the next couple of days, they could get hyped up a ton, and we could see a big rise in price, but we'll have to see what happens. Obviously, I think over the longer term, they'll probably fade away as EVs are really hyped and are all very bullish right now. We'll see what happens, though. And, of course, it's that time for me to mention that we have 31 viewers and 11 likes, it looks like. Maybe we could bump it up. Maybe we could even get 30 likes on the stream. If everybody liked the stream, then potentially we could get 30. That is a bit of a long shot, though. We'll see if we can't do it. But it does help to get some more people in here, and it is very appreciated, guys, for the sake of the channel. It's very appreciated. Now, looking at Ape Wisdom, we're going to pull this up. Being the highest shorted SPAC and small free float, do you think DWAC will short squeeze soon with volume and a catalyst? Says Shiny Man. Let me pull up the Ortex for DWAC because I don't believe there are that many shares short, but okay, actually, it is fairly significant. It is fairly significant. 13% of the free float. Yeah, that's higher than when we last looked. That'll be interesting. I mean, it might. Obviously, we'll have to get some initial price action to the upside with DWAC if we want to squeeze out shorts, right? Because shorts are probably building their position very close to where we are. So we'll have to see if we can't bounce off of this 55 very nicely. It looks like we've already started the process. We've already started this nice little uptrend off this 55, and hopefully we'll start moving up. And Zach Taylor says, I love waking up to overnight gaps in precious metals, as do I. I took a look at gold and silver, and we'll take a look here on the chart. But yeah, up decently. Looks like not quite to new intraday highs if we open at these prices, but we're getting close. We just have to get up above 174.66 on the gold ETF. So, Rodimus Prime. Interesting thought. AMC CEO sells $1.1 billion worth of shares. Elon sells $5 billion, highest inflation in 30 years, etc. Are they telling us something? Wonder if it's time short. Maybe. I feel like these people wouldn't be selling stock if they were worried about inflation, right? They wouldn't want to start holding cash if they were worried about inflation. I mean, potentially they could put the money into something else that they think is even more inflation protected than their stocks, but we'll see. We'll see. PHUN to the moon, says Daryl Borrego. What's PHUN doing? Looks like we closed around $4, $3.90, and we are moving up. We are trending up alongside DWAC. Just ever so slightly, and earnings coming tonight around 4 it looks like. 4 Central Time, so 5 it looks like for Eastern Time, but good stuff for PHUN. A nice uptrend right here. That's good. And Silver says, Shiny, the original shorts from 175 are expiring next Friday, so watch this next. From 175. Yeah. For DWAC. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with DWAC and Shiny Man TY. So the second week of trading in DWAC was weekly shorts. Third week, margin accounts were halted. Only cash verified accounts are shorting. Trump versus Soros. Interesting. I'm hoping that regardless of whatever catalyst there is, whether it be a short squeeze or if Trump speaks, I'm just hoping we get this thing starting to move up, because I think that's what's going to get a lot of buyers seeing that maybe this won't dip any further, and a lot of people might be looking to get in, whether it be out of FOMO or out of a legitimate interest in the company. I think that once we start to see this rise, it'll really start to rise very quickly. So I'm looking out for that on DWAC. And good job, guys. We actually got to 27 likes, so very close to the 30 that we were searching for, but that's very good stuff. So for those of you guys who weren't there for the very initial moments of the stream, we did look at Bitcoin for a second, and we saw that they actually took a bit of a tumble. You can see the Bitcoin chart right here, not looking too pretty. They're down about 3K from where they were just moments before, right? They were at 60. Now they're down about 4K. So they were at 68,600, and then they instantly just tanked over a couple of minutes to 64,300. So they're down quite a bit on this dip here. So we'll see what happens with Bitcoin. I've heard people speculating both ways. People have been saying Bitcoin is going to crash massively, and other people have been saying, and this is kind of far-fetched. Some people have been saying Bitcoin to 100,000 by the end of the year. So that means in less than 2 months, a lot of people are expecting Bitcoin 100,000. So, that would be about a 50% increase from where we are. It'll be interesting to see if that actually happens. So, little AR, Rivian flying this morning. It is up 8% in the pre-market from what we saw. Let's take a peek. RIVN. Yeah, it looks like it's doing good. It's doing pretty good right now. Up about 9% now. So yeah, Rivian doing very well. And Finocinario Hobby Outlet says, Make is 27 likes, brother. Good morning and happy Veterans Day to all the vets. Happy Veterans Day. Yep, happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day, especially to everyone who is drinking Black Rifle coffee. Now, Manny C says, good morning, Rob. Good morning, Manny. Good to see you back. Good to see you back. And Rivian is looking very interesting, right? I mean, obvious, I didn't get in on it. It would have been nice potentially to have grabbed some IPO shares because I think, what were those IPOing at? I think those were IPOing at $78 a share, and they just opened at 106 when they started trading. So it could be a good thing. Could have been a good thing to get into Rivian, but didn't end up doing it. I know some people on the stream did. So DXY, US dollar index. Yeah, it looks like the dollar is up as well. So Zach Taylor, so perplexing to repeatedly see the dollar and gold both go up. That is very strange. Who knows what investors are thinking, right? Who knows? People getting into gold and the dollar. Maybe they're just worried about the markets moving down in general. Maybe they're just worried. If you look at, we'll take a peek at QQQ, or we'll look at SPY. The SPY, that's a better indicator. But if you look, we are on a little bit of a dip right now. They might just be wanting to hold assets like gold and even some cash just in case the markets take a tumble. So we'll see what happens with it. We'll see what happens. GLD is also, let's see where we're at right now. Yeah, so still up on GLD. It's looking pretty good, up to 174. So a decent increase. I wonder what Barrick Gold is doing. Barrick Gold is up almost to $21 per share. So good stuff. And Shinyman says, your thoughts on KPLT? Well, let's take a peek at KPLT. It's up to above $5. All right. Catapult Holdings. We've looked at this one in the past. It's been on a big downtrend. It looks like they had bad earnings at one point. Let's see what this company is all about. KPLT. We've looked at them, but I haven't remembered. I don't remember what they were all about. So we'll pull it up on Market Watch and see what they do. Catapult Holdings. So they are an e-commerce focused financial technology company offering e-commerce point-of-sale lease purchase options for non-prime U.S. customers. It offers its customers a lease purchase transaction processing system with no long-term obligation and options for ownership. All right. Interesting stuff. $500 million market cap. And they have been on a big downtrend. So now that their earnings are out, actually, they're profitable. It doesn't surprise me, right, that they moved up big on that. And they're not even at the highs from where their earnings took them. So I could see this being good, right? This could be a turnaround. Let's see, what were they doing last earnings? So they were losing money last earnings. Now they're making money. It could be a turnaround for the company. Who knows? They might start an uptrend now, actually, that they're profitable. So that does sound like a somewhat promising business model, right? Online point-of-sale transactions seem like the way the world is moving, right? We're probably more focused on e-commerce than retail. So this could be a good one. I mean, obviously, with my limited knowledge about what exactly they're up to, but it could be good. So, good morning. Is DWAC changing name on the 19th of November? Not that I've heard of. So, I mean, there were some rumors, but let me see. Doesn't look like there's any news on that. I don't think that they're actually changing their name on the 19th, but I'll keep an eye out for it. I'll keep an eye out. So PPSI is flying but don't want to FOMO in, says Saucy Fredo. PPSI. Pioneer Power Solutions. Okay, so they're up pretty big, 680 up to 830. All right, so they are up really big actually. They might be going back up to the highs. So they just pumped massively on the 8th. So let's see what was going on the 8th that caused them to move up so much. Launched eBoost Smart Mobile EV Charging Solutions. All right, so they improved their electric vehicle charging solutions for a full range of applications. All right, so that's the kind of news that I think could wane over time, right? I mean, obviously, it's a great thing for the company, but it almost seems like a hypey situation, right? I think that this might be FOMOing in to buy here. Obviously, it could rise a bit more, but they were trading at 3, and all they've done looks like is announced some new products. So, we'll have to see how those actually take to the market. Maybe what happens on the earnings call, that's just in a couple of days on the 15th. We'll see what happens then. They might end up moving down a little bit on the earnings as they're brought more in line with reality, right? As people realize, well, they're not profitable yet. They just launched these products now. So we'll see what happens with them. But it could be good over the long term, right? The fact that they are launching new products, especially if you could buy them on a big dip from where they are right now, that could be good. So, Rocky Mountain Gobbler, Silver, thank you. And Maria G, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Maria. And Silver says, DWAC will be a modern-day arc for freedom. Tired of the far-left craziness? This is the fight. This DWAC, that's certainly what a lot of people are saying about it. So, we'll see if we can't get this thing to move up. Hopefully over the next couple of days and weeks, Trump will say something about it and we'll start moving up on DWAC. That's the hope. So what else was going on in the markets? There was something else. So PaySafe. PaySafe was something I wanted to take a peek at. It's the number one trending right now on StockTwits, but PSFE looks like it took a massive earnings dump, right? It was at 730 when it closed, and now it's at 485. And Wall Street set for rebound after sell-off fueled by inflation concerns. We'll see what happens with the markets. The markets right now have been trending up in after hours and pre-market, but we'll see what happens. We might be moving down. Jordan Israel Peterson, morning, Rob. Good morning, Jordan. And JP says DIDI. And Sundial earnings today, says Prabesh. Yeah, and I saw we were hitting up 70 cents on Sundial. So let's take a peek at that real quick. We were getting very close in pre-market. We were over 70 cents per share in pre-market. We'll see what happens with the earnings. Hopefully something good. But who knows? We're really banking on the legalization catalyst for Sundial, I think. Right? The earnings, it could be a hit, it could be a miss. Who knows? But I'm really hoping for the legalization catalyst to launch them into the stratosphere. So, DIDI, JP, we will take a peek at DIDI. DD, so DD Global ADR. So they closed yesterday around 890. Now they're at 941. Up pretty big. It looks like maybe some news came out for them. Let's see. So DD Global prepares to relaunch ride-hailing app in China by end of the year and co-anticipates completion of Beijing's cybersecurity investigation. So they're preparing to relaunch a ride-hailing app in China. It looks like people are excited about that. So that's good stuff. Good stuff for them. And U.S. Morning Call, U.S.-China COP26 agreement, Tesla Disney Tapestry. Cautious welcome for an unexpected U.S.-China climate agreement. Tesla shares, okay. So it looks like we just got a little climate agreement earlier today at 7:30 with China. So not bad. But for DD, yeah, that's an interesting catalyst, right? Relaunching their driving app, their ride-hailing app. That could be launching them up a bit higher, right? They haven't risen that much, only about maybe 15% on the news. So they could be going higher. Maybe we could make probably not all-time highs, but we could certainly break through $10 on it. I don't see why we couldn't break through 10. In fact, we actually did very temporarily break through in pre-market, so no reason we couldn't return to it. if people are excited in DD. So I could see that being good. And Hexo, though, not happy about Hexo. Let's see what happened with Hexo. Yeah, Hexo's not doing great. I mean, it hasn't moved down really since it closed yesterday. It's still around the close, so I'm not too worried about Hexo. Obviously, they haven't been doing great over the past couple of months, but their earnings certainly didn't help, it looks like. We'll see what happens with them, though. I think the legalization will help all of these companies, right? Not just Sundial. It'll be all the cannabis companies that probably benefit quite a bit from that. So with Sundial, let's take another peek at it. Let's see where they're going in the pre-market. So yeah, once again, touching above 70 cents for a brief moment, getting to 71 very briefly, and now we're at 69 cents right here per share on Sundial. So we'll see what happens with it. SPY is looking pretty steady, and Rivian is continuing its uptrend. Let's see what's going on with PROG. I'll pull away the SQQQ there, and PROG is unfortunately dipping below their 320 support. So not great for PROG, right? At $3, it might be time to exit PROG. Down about $300 since open on this trade that I've taken. I've taken a couple of trades on PROG, and up until now they've been profitable, but we'll see. I mean, there's still a lot of open interest call options, right? The earnings call, if it doesn't sink us too much, PROG could still be pumper, right? PROG still has 29,000 open interest call options at $3.50 and 37,000, almost 38,000 at $4. So I'm still hopeful for PROG, but it might not be a bad idea to cut losses on it around 3. I'll consider it. I'll think about it. Not too worried about it, but we'll see. Acorn sucks. I'm going to give Kyle some stocks. All right, and Hobby Outlet. Yesterday they announced new news that Hexo believes they are shutting down. Really? Wow. That's crazy. Did not know about Hexo. Hexo shutting down. I'm surprised they aren't down lower on that news. Zach Taylor, Rob, if we were still measuring inflation the way we did pre-1990s, we'd be pushing 15%. I emailed you a graphic. Oh, I believe it, Zach. I'll take a peek at that. I believe it. Let's see. No emails. Unless maybe I need to refresh my account. Let's see. Okay, there we go. I think that should be it. Any news about Reco.v? Real inflation pushing 15%. So let's see. Shadowstats.com. All right, so let's look at this inflation data. It's up. Yeah, it looks pretty high. And consumer inflation versus the 1980s based calculation method. Yeah, that's interesting. Right here, I'll try to show people this chart right here on the screen. So let's try to pull this up. But if we were still measuring inflation the way we did in the 1980s, here's the chart. You can see what's the time frame on this. So it goes back. You see it was pretty high around 2008 as well. But right there, you can see the blue line is, let me actually pull this out just a touch. There we go. The blue line is the 1980s data, if we were measuring it that way, and the red line is how we currently measure it. So basically, it's just a flat decrease in deflation, right? They just linearly push everything down a little bit. However, they've changed these calculations. It looks like they just changed them to the downside, so inflation doesn't look as bad. So interesting stuff. Thank you for that, Zach. Yeah, not surprising that they're manipulating the data to make inflation look not as bad. But you can see it in the markets. If you look over the past all time, the markets they do somewhat reflect the inflation in the money supply. You can see we've just been shooting up. The dollar can buy far less stocks as well as it can buy far less food. So it doesn't surprise me at all to see that they've been manipulating the data a little bit. Show the second chart. Let's pull it up again. What was the second chart? Let's pull that email up again. So, of course, it's taking a second to load now. And Hassan says, good morning, Hassan. Let's pull up that second chart and see what that's all about. So the 1990s based alternative, is that what you're talking about, Zach? We'll pull up the 1990s based alternative. This is, there are two charts here. One is 1980s, one is 1990s. I'll show them both. I'll show them both. So, oh, I see. Here we go. Actually, never mind. That was I was showing the 1990s. I meant to show the one below it. So here actually, here's the 1980s chart. This is interesting. Looks like it's even worse than the first one. So there you go. There is the 1980s calculation. It looks like it's varied even more, actually. The other one, the 1990s based method, was linear. This one is, it actually looks like the inflation is just much, much worse. It has been departing for some time since the 90s. So not great to see. Not great to see inflation-wise. Very high inflation rates. I've certainly noticed it. If anyone frequents McDonald's ever, I don't typically, but every now and then I will. And the prices of some of the food there, I used to pay $1 for some of the stuff, like the cheeseburgers and McChickens and all that. And now it's like $1.60 or something crazy. So 60% inflation at McDonald's. It's quite a bit. So that's apples to apples. And when Foon goes up, Mark goes down, lol. Says Saucy Fredo. Yeah, that's unfortunate. PHUN, we'll take a peek. Looks like they are up a bit. And then Mark is very, it's not necessarily down that much. It's kind of stagnant, a little stagnant on Mark. So not the worst there. But we're getting very close to market open. Just 3 minutes to go. And we'll see what happens with PROG. I'm hoping for some green, but that might be a bit wishful, right? That might be a little bit wishful on PROG. We'll see what happens, though. So Sotos says Rico.V. Rico.V. RECO.V. Is that a ticker symbol? No, can't find that. Just Rico? No. Not sure what is Rico.V. Sotos, I'm curious what that is. We'll pull up, what do we have here? DWAC, I'm curious what they do at open, actually. May as well look at that. And we'll pull up the SQQQ here, just because this chart's kind of blocked, and people can't see that much of it. But, yeah, the markets are not reconnaissance. I'll pull that up on Google and see what it is. RECAFF. All right, RECAFF. Okay, so this stock, Reconnaissance Energy, it's in Africa. It's an African company. So RECAFF. Okay, can't find the symbol on TD Ameritrade, unfortunately. However, we can pull it up on Google right here. So it looks like over the past day, they're down about 3.65%. And the past year, up 400%. So not bad on this one if you were holding it a year ago. 5 years, they're up 2,600%. Not bad. So, yeah, I mean, African companies are very interesting, right? I am curious about those, how they'll be doing in the future. Silver says the Fed can't raise rates and can't go negative, boxed in. Hector Falcon asks about Lucid. We'll take a peek at Lucid. We'll pull it up over the SPY, but then we'll return to the SPY eventually. So Lucid is up a little bit in the pre-market and after hours. So up to 42.79. So maybe we can, maybe we'll get a nice bounce off of 40. It looks like we already had a bounce, and maybe this will be a continuation of the uptrend, but I don't know. We're getting close. Earnings are happening soon. People might be buying in anticipation of that. But we'll have to see what happens with it, right? Lucid has already risen quite a bit ever since blasting through 28. They've just been running. So this isn't the first stop out we've had. We actually got stopped out at 40 the first time, bounced down to 34, then made highs of 48. So now maybe we'll bounce off of 40 and make highs of 50-something. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Lucid stock. It could be good. It could be bad. But we'll watch it during the open. So looks like they're already having a good open, right? A nice green bar right here. Good stuff. And PROG, unfortunately, it looks like they're on a little bit of a dip. DWAC as well. Not great. PROG down 13% since close yesterday. Not ideal. Lucid is up 4% though. So Soto says, it is a Canadian company that owns 1 million acres in Africa. They already found petroleum and started selling. Maybe it is one of the biggest hits ever. Wow, that is cool. That is promising. RECAF. Actually, we can find the chart here. Okay, so there we go. I was mistyping the ticker symbol. Lucid just took a dump. Lucid's getting sold off hard, it looks like, and PROG is potentially steadying itself. But yeah, this does look promising. If they did find that much oil, let me just pull it up on Yahoo Finance, see what the market cap is on RECAF. We'll see if that's a good one to be in. So RECAF. If they've already gotten very large off of the news, so they're under $1 billion, but they are at 981 million. So it's pretty high already. So Silver says space stocks have another year of correcting since funding and missions pushed out until 2025 from Brandon administration this week, undoing what Trump signed in 2019. Yeah, space stocks like Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, all that. So SPCE, how are they doing? Yeah, it looks like they are down off. Their earnings actually, it looks like boosted them the day after, but now they're tanking. So yeah, that's how the space industry is likely to go. And PROG actually gets back up above 320. That's what we like to see. That is perfect for PROG, right? Just a 5% change right there from 307 to 322. That's nice. Nice on PROG. So only 8% down on the day. We'll see what happens if we can't stay above 320. The hope is we can. The hope is that we'll actually return to 350. That would be very nice to see. It looks like we did get a nice little bounce off of 3 on this doji candlestick. So, yeah, that's good. 301. All right, PROG is looking good. PROG is looking good right now. And SQQQ, we'll take a peek at the regular QQQ just to see what's going on. Looks like some initial volatility. People can't decide. Do they want the markets to be red? Do they want them to be green? Rivian, though, we'll pull Rivian up 12%. So they obviously had a good open. A couple minutes before market open, they pumped up pretty high, up to highs of 115, it looks like. Oh, no, 116 was the high at market open. They hit 116. So in for another day of volatility with Rivian, it looks like. The markets are moving down from the look of it, and PROG is moving up. This is exactly what we're looking for, right? The QQQ starting to downtrend. We'll see if we can't maintain that, right? We were starting that pattern a little bit before market open, during the pre-market. We started moving down. PROG is getting pumped up. This is good stuff for PROG. I guess people really want that gamma squeeze to happen, so I'm excited for that. That's good stuff. I'm all in on, not all in on PROG, but I'm all for PROG going up, right? I do have some PROG. I'm down on it right now, but if they could get back up to 4 or even back up above 370, I think that would be a green position at that point. So not much further to go, and if we keep it like this, the sky's the limit on PROG. So, obviously it could take a couple of days, but not a bad sign, right? Not a bad start right after their earnings. The fact that we did bounce nicely off of 3. We'll have to see what happens, though. It's always possible that they could start moving down. Saucy Fredo says Tal is running. Tal is running up 7%. Tal Education Group ADR. Yep, we were looking at this a while ago. Sometime yesterday, I think. But it is up 7%, so not bad. Up to $4.20. So they've been doing decently, but over the past year, once again, down massively. So scary stuff with Tal. Still on a little bit of a downtrend. We'll have to see what happens with them, but I'm not sure. It's a little too risky for me, right? It looks like the risk reward might not quite be there, in my opinion, right? The risk seems very great because we have just been downtrending for the most part, right? So we'll see what happens with Tal. It's up 6%. It's not bad for a trade, right? You could take a trade on it. That could be good. Got in at 389. Nice. Good buy on that, Saucy Fredo. And with second pipeline being stopped, Canada could be moving oil from Africa to themselves. Stockpiling, maybe. They might stockpile. Not a bad thing to stockpile oil. Sounds useful. Okay, so the market's starting to reverse a little bit. They're starting to move back up. We'll see. We'll see if we start making new intraday highs or if we continue moving down. Looks like there's a little bit of pushback right here. But Sundial we'll take a peek at. I know Sundial interests some people, and me as well. I have a somewhat large Sundial position, so Sundial not quite able to hit 70 cents per share. Hopefully we'll be able to break up through it, but it looks like we're starting to move down now as the markets move up, of course, right? As the markets move up, all these meme stocks, PROG is moving down, Sundial is moving down as the markets reverse, and the SQQ, of course, making this a break-even day, right? Or making it a break-even trade, right? I got in at 644, now we're at 644 again. So we'll see. You know, the SQQQ trade, I'm more so betting on over the next couple of days. You know, it's tough to say what's going to happen in the short term, day to day, but over the next couple of days, it certainly looks. If you look at the QQQ 1 year, you can see it doesn't look too good for us, right? This sharp of a dip, maybe we'll just recover and start moving back up. That's possible. We certainly could. And in fact, it wouldn't be unlikely at all for us to get back up to around 395 and then start moving down, right? Because oftentimes when you see these dips, you will, like even this last one that we had, we moved down a bit and then we recovered a little until we hit some kind of resistance and then we moved down further. So we'll see what happens with it. Not the largest position that I have. I'm not betting the most on the markets dropping, but I am betting a little bit. So it's just more of a fun trade to take than anything. So Acorn, feel bad for the person that caught in DWAC at 105 or DVAC at 105 yesterday. Some got in higher. DVAC. We'll take a peek. DVAC. DVAC X. I'm not sure if that's a ticker. Acorn, that was me, but I will hold until 2024. Maybe you're talking about DWAC. In which case, I don't see anyone in at 105 yesterday. But China's stockpiling every resource: food, coal, metals. Z is up to something, says Silver. Yeah, China's always up to something. So you never know what they're up to until they spring their plan. But looks like PROG is finding some support at 320. Hopefully we hold there. And the markets are starting to move down again. So that's not good to see. Obviously, we don't want the markets moving down, but in terms of this short-term trade that we're taking, this is actually a good thing. So markets moving down, we want to see temporarily. So happy Veterans Day, Acorn Sucks says. Happy Veterans Day. And Brandy will release oil reserves soon, says Silver. That would be good for oil. I mean, gas has gotten very expensive. That would be very nice to see if we got slightly cheaper gas. I wouldn't complain about that. Brandon. Okay, yeah. Yep. So we'll see. I would like cheaper gas, but seems maybe almost premature to release the oil reserves. Right? Those should be for emergencies. That was me. DWSA went on at 105, but I will hold long, says Sotos Pizzinis. Yeah, I'm not too worried about DWAC over at least the midterm, right? I think that that will probably be trending up starting soon, right? Hopefully these bounces off 55 will support us enough, and we won't drop below that before we do. But it looks like we're down a little bit on the day on DWAC. It's tough to time these perfectly. So I mean, if there were a buying opportunity, if someone was looking to take a trade on DWAC, now wouldn't be a bad price, probably, if you wanted to get in very close to 55 and then maybe put a stop loss at 52 or something like that. Not a bad trade, right? It seems like there's a lot of upwards potential for it. And the markets are starting to move down. They're continuing to move down a little bit. This might scare people out. When people see the markets moving down, let's take a look at the VIX and see what's going on with the VIX. So the VIX is actually... It moved down massively throughout the course of ever since around 2:45 yesterday. The VIX has been on the downtrend, and that continued in after hours of pre-market. However, we're starting to move back up as markets are falling a little bit. I wonder what happened to move the VIX down so much. But gold is up. That's good to see. Gold and silver, that's nice. Gold and silver are both doing well. And what is Barrick Gold doing? I'm curious. Barrick Gold took a dump as soon as market opened, but still up over 1% from where they closed. So not bad. Not bad to see with Barrick Gold. But Yeah, for some reason this one dumped, even though gold was doing pretty well. Maybe some people just looking to take profits over $20 for Barrick Gold. Could be. Silver, my first sell order for DWAC is 255, letting a small chunk go to pay off all debts, then letting it ride. Technical buddies of mine want it at 310 to 320. That would be nice. That would be nice. And Hassan, yesterday was a disgusting day for VIX hedging. Yeah, the VIX. The VIX was down pretty big, and even in the pre-market today, I mean, down 4% overall from where we closed. Strange stuff with the VIX. It looks like people aren't as worried about a market crash right now as they were yesterday. It looks like yesterday they got pretty darn worried. But the fact that we recovered towards the end of the day looks like it staved off some fears, right? We'll see, though. We could always continue this downtrend, right? We're very early in the day, and we did already get a big red bar, so we'll see what happens with it. It could and is almost likely, in my opinion, to continue trending down. So just because we got a little respite, just because people were buying up late in the trading day yesterday and in after hours and pre-market, you can see the volumes are relatively low for that. So we'll see what happens with it over the next couple of hours. But I don't have too much faith in the market right now. I think that the markets, at least temporarily, are showing some technical weakness, right? It's never good when you see big dips like this relatively quickly. Even if you do recover a little bit from people buying the dip initially, we've seen it in the past. Right here, you could see a big dip and a little recovery as people bought it up before the real weakness showed itself. So we'll see. I'll get rid of this line. I don't need that anymore. But we could be going down a ways. Probably not too much lower than 380. That was our previous peak. So I don't see the markets falling too much. There is still a lot of money in the system, but with the Fed tapering and with inflation on the rise, people certainly are worried. People are certainly worried about the markets. So PaySafe, says Hassan. We'll look at PaySafe, PSFE. Yeah, down big. We were looking at this a little bit ago, but yeah, they're continuing to tank, and it looks like their earnings were zero. So no earnings, not bad though. Could have been worse. Could have been worse than zero. Could have been a big loss. But still moving down. So people were not happy with that. Let's take a peek at PaySafe and see if there's a story on them. There might be some kind of story. So PaySafe stock tumbles after Q3 earnings and 2021 revenue guidance cut. All right, so PaySafe Limited shares fell sharply to Thursday after the online payment processing platform backed by Blackstone Group partners postponed weaker than expected third quarter revenues and lowered its full year profits forecast. PaySafe reported adjusted earnings of $106 million with revenues of $353 million as both figures fell 1%. Okay. PaySafe said it sees adjusted earnings in the range of 425 to 435, down $60 million from the higher end of its previous forecast. So that's not good. So they're expecting less earnings. They missed on revenue and guidance. Yep. Not bad. Not good for PaySafe. Down quite a bit. I was not holding any PaySafe, fortunately, though. Fortunately, I was not in PaySafe, but yeah, down 36%. That's a colossal defeat for a stock that, it was a fundamental play for a lot of people. They weren't just betting on it. I mean, obviously, it had been downtrending a bit over the past while, but this is a crazy dump to see in such a short period. So, Easy Live says, patience with DWAC. Yes, I think patience is important in the markets in general. And Shinyman, with inflation so high, do you personally prefer gold or Bitcoin? I like gold. I like Bitcoin. I like them both. I don't think Bitcoin has any real value if you look at it. I mean, it seems just arbitrary where the price goes. You can say it's an inflation hedge, and sure, maybe people will end up buying it with dollars if they're worried about inflation. That will make it an inflation hedge if people do that. But it doesn't have that long of a history of even existing, right? The first time we got, I think it was before 2013, but when we first started tracking it, it was in 2013, at least on CoinMarketCap. So it's been around for a bit. for a decade or two. I think it was around much earlier than 2013, but I just don't trust it that much to not fall a ton, right? Because it isn't really anything. It's just some code online. There's no real uses for it. At least gold, gold does have some real uses, even though it doesn't justify the price, right? Because a lot of people do buy gold as just a store of value. So obviously the price, it factors that in. So it's not just valued based off of the real uses, but there are real uses in electronics, and you can make jewelry out of it and flaunt your wealth with it. Bitcoin, all you can do is show people your Bitcoin wallet. So Bitcoin I'm a bit warier on, but from the past data that we've gotten, Bitcoin certainly seems to have more potential to rise. I'm not opposed to it being a new form of inflation hedge, right? If Bitcoin or if people in our generation really seem to take to it, which they seem to have taken to it, but if they really decide that that's where they want to put their money, then obviously it could rise quite a bit more. So if people really start to value it a ton, then I don't see why it wouldn't outperform gold. Gold already has a $10 trillion market cap, and Bitcoin only has a 1.2. So Hassan Gardezi, Rob, you're the only streamer I know not fanboying on Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, I own Bitcoin, right? I own Bitcoin. I'm not a Bitcoin bear. I don't think that it's going to tank, but it doesn't seem to do much to me. So, I'm just putting my money in just because it's tough to say what's going to happen in the future. It could do well, but I'm not too sure about it, right? It doesn't seem to make much sense. It seems somewhat random why the price goes up. And maybe there's someone out there who could explain it, but I'm not a Bitcoin expert by any means, so I try not to fanboy it. But Soto says $10,000 at 105 with DWAC all in to the moon. And Zach Taylor says JPM initiates Silvergate with overweight $300 price target. Wow. And Jimmy NG, morning Rob, any thoughts on Evergrande officially defaulting and how bad the impact will be with the contagion effects? Yeah, so I think a while back when we were first worried about the Evergrande crisis, I don't know if I can find it, but I'll look up U.S. exposure to Evergrande. I believe that we found that we don't have that much of an exposure, not as much, not too much, but it is a decent exposure, right? So we're not the most exposed. It could be worse, though. But what people were really worried about at this point, I think, is that okay, so here we go. Here's an article, right? So Fed Chair Powell says there was not a lot of direct U.S. exposure, but what people are worried about with Evergrande, I think, is that the effect that it could have on other Chinese companies, the fact that it could worsen supply chain issues. I think that's what people are worried about. Evergrande did loan out money to a lot of Chinese companies, to smaller companies. They also took a lot of money from other companies. They took out loans from companies. So if it really has a bad effect in China, we get a lot of our stuff from China, and we already have supply chain issues. If prices are already rising, if China stops making as much stuff and sending it to us, that certainly wouldn't be good. So I think that's what people are worried about with Evergrande at this point. That's what I'm worried about with Evergrande. So it's not looking good for Evergrande. I mean, obviously, they defaulted. That could only have a bad effect on the markets. The only way I see it is it could have a bad effect on the markets. We'll see how we react. Obviously, the news came out, I think, yesterday, and we didn't have a great day yesterday, but we also recovered fairly well in after hours and pre-market. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. But Jimmy NG, so that was the one I just read. And Nacho Libre, Joe Biden trying to replace chairman of Fed, going to make stocks drop. What are your thoughts? Thanks. I was unaware he was trying to replace the chairman of the Fed. Let me look that up. So let's see. Okay, so Powell or Brainerd. Biden weighs his pick for U.S. Fed chair. President Joe Biden is still weighing whether to keep Jerome Powell as chair of the Federal Reserve for a second term or elevate Fed Governor Brainerd to the post, an administration official said on Wednesday. The White House is cognizant of pressure from both moderates and progressives within the Democratic Party about the choice. There are pressures going both ways for both finalists, the official said. Okay. So interesting stuff. Um, he has backing from moderate Democrats as well as Republicans. Jerome does. And he's also drawn criticisms of supply bottlenecks have driven inflation at a 31-year high. Well, I don't know. So Brainerd is seen as more dovish on monetary policy and has a stronger hand on bank regulation. So that doesn't seem like a good thing for inflation, right? More dovish Fed policy. Certainly doesn't seem good if people are worried about inflation. I don't see why he would change the current Fed chair, but that could be good for stocks, right? If there's a more dovish Fed policy, it could be good for stocks in terms of stock prices moving up. Maybe not great for the country, right? If we're really suffering from inflation, that could be bad. So, KTM for life, Rob, you've become my favorite YouTube guy. I appreciate that. And Soto says, Rob, where do you see Lucid from here? So we'll take a peek at Lucid. Looks like a lot of volatility. I could see, Lucid. It looks like they've already soared up pretty high. And it's tough to say if this will be the peak or not, if they've already reached the peak. But I could see them definitely at least slowing down, right? I don't think they'll continue to soar that much higher. It looks like they've already spent a lot of their momentum. Maybe they will. They might. They've got earnings coming up, so there are some potential catalysts. But I think maybe they'll simmer out for a little bit. Hopefully not fall below 40, right? 40 seems like a nice support to have for them. They were up above 40 at one point in the past, up above 60 at one point. So no reason not to hold above 40. We stuck around the $22 to $28 range for a long time. I think that 40 is somewhat justified with Lucid now that they've started deliveries. So I think that they could stick around here for a bit, but I don't see too much movement either way. I mean, obviously if people want to take profits, they might drop some Lucid shares. It is up quite a bit. Some people are surely in this for the momentum. So a lot of people might be looking to get out over the next couple of days or weeks if they see Lucid not rising as much, and that could lead to a little drop in price. But we're on the uptrend right now. I don't know if we'll make new highs. It doesn't seem the most likely if we were going to, maybe off of earnings hype the day before or after. But we'll see. I think we're set to stagnate for a little bit. So Evergrande defaulted but rose 13% today. All right, that's interesting, Jacob. And Christian Sharkey says Sundial may be ripping. Sundial, says Prabesh. Ooh, let's look at Sundial. Did they get above 70? Nice. That's what we want. That's exactly what we want. Above 70, they look very good. They're up 5% on the day. I'm happy about that. So that's good stuff. Up above 70. I like it. Yeah, hopefully they'll be shooting up even more. How's Tilray doing? Up 3%. So the cannabis stocks are on the move again. They had a bad couple of days, the past 2 days. Not great stuff for Tilray or Sundial, but they might be continuing this uptrend that they started off of potential legalization news. This is good to see. If they start making new highs, that would be very good for Tilray and Sundial. Yeah, so Sundial, we would just like to see them getting up above 73 today. That would be nice if they could do it. We'll see what their earnings do. The markets are doing good, though. The markets are forming a nice little V shape, of course. So the markets are back up. When have the markets ever fallen? So Silver says, I keep thinking China will baby Evergrande until it falls asleep. See, wouldn't cause another 2008 drop. Yeah, probably, right? China does take a big role in managing their businesses. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them stopping Evergrande from completely bankrupting. But Acorn sucks. I don't understand it well enough. Bitcoin, yeah. Bitcoin, the thing is, there's not that much to understand almost. It seems relatively simple, right? It's a digital thing that you can transact in. The underlying technology you don't need to understand, I don't think at least, to understand what the price should be, right? The price should be nothing, right? It's because you can make an infinite amount of these cryptocurrencies. You can see there are a ton of cryptocurrencies. So, looking all the way back, there's a ton down to spot 100 XDC network, Bitcoin Gold at spot number 99 has it's just $1 million market cap. It looks like, or $1 billion market cap. But there's there's a lot of crypto hype. I don't know though. I'm not opposed to the price going up. It just doesn't seem to make much sense. So FA says Bitcoiners, not a maximalist here, are all about the decentralization concept. It is about hedging against what they see as unstable fiat futures this summer. Yeah, no, I believe in that. I believe in the technology of blockchain being decentralized and all that. I believe, in setting up a currency, but I don't see why the currency has to be valued so highly, right? Why Bitcoin needs to be at $65,000 a coin. Why, we couldn't just make a different cryptocurrency that everyone's going to start using and, a certain amount to everybody initially. Kind of like something more like Ethereum, right? Ethereum makes a little bit more sense to me than Bitcoin because it's actually useful for transactions. Bitcoin, I believe, isn't the best to transact in. They have 15-minute, some kind of 15-minute delay with their transactions, I think. Ethereum, on the other hand, is much quicker and just a much more efficient crypto. So that's what I think about it. I think that Bitcoin just doesn't make much sense, right? The argument I've heard about Bitcoin is that it's a store of value, and that's why it's going up now. I think a lot of people are saying, oh, it's a store of value and inflation hedge. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure, I guess. But if times really get tough, right? If times really get tough, are you going to want Bitcoin or are you going to want something physical that you can hold? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So UFOs are real. Crypto will continue to rise because of inflation. Wish I could get more ETH. Yeah, I think ETH makes more sense than Bitcoin, right? It seems to have more utility. So ETH, I think, over the long run could outpace Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the first, and that means, it got the most publicity and still gets the most publicity, and people trust it the most, but Ethereum is gaining on it, right? It's about half the market cap right now. And looking at the past year, let's see what they've done over the past year for Ethereum. Ethereum over the past, we'll look at all time. So maybe 1 year is fine. So they went they about 10x'd from 461 to 4,700. So Ethereum's about 10x'd over the past year. And Bitcoin, let's see what they've done over the past year. They've about 4x'd. So Ethereum has outpaced Bitcoin a little bit over the past year. Shiny men. I prefer gold, but of course I have some crypto too. Yeah, me as well. I'm in the cryptos a little bit, but I do prefer gold. It seems to make a little bit more sense to me. So Hassan Gardezi, the limited supply of BTC is the most compelling argument over Ethereum. Yeah, I hear that. I guess the real reason is, why do you want it? Why do you want Bitcoin, right? What does it do for you? In the long run, if it stops, if it ever stagnates for a period of years, if you ever reach a point where the market cap, maybe it's 10 trillion, why are you buying Bitcoin over a stock that can actually end up paying you a dividend and that grows as a company every year? Why would you hold Bitcoin? If the supply just stays steady, everyone can hold a certain amount of Bitcoin, but what's the point of it? It doesn't make too much sense to me why people want Bitcoin over the long term. I can understand, you want to buy in. That's why I bought in. You want to buy in because you think the price will go up, because you think someone will pay you more later for it. But at a certain point, that's probably going to slow down, is my theory on it, at least, right? I think that'll eventually slow down, and that people might realize that the gains to be made in Bitcoin aren't as big as they once were. And once people stop thinking, oh, I'll buy it because someone else is going to pay more for it later, then that's really the only reason to buy it, I think. Shinyman says, thank you and have a great day. Got to go for now. All right, Shiny. I'll see you in the next one, man. Have a good one. And Prabesh says, so Ethereum has an infinite burn rate, I think. Infinite burn rate. Isn't it burn rate how much is destroyed? Isn't it how much it gets rid of, I believe? Yeah. So that would be good, actually, for Ethereum's price, right? If they're getting rid of Ethereum, that'd be nice. Looks like right now there are... Oh, okay. So the circulating supply of Bitcoin is 18.8 million and 118.2 million for Ethereum. So, yes, the less the better for the price. Yep. So, I'm probably more bullish on Ethereum, honestly, than Bitcoin at this time, at least, right? It seems to be doing a little bit more for transactions and whatnot. There seem to be more use cases for Ethereum, but let's see what's going on with the stocks right now. We haven't looked at the stocks in a bit. We've been talking about crypto. So PHUN is up 2.33%. DWAC is actually down a little bit. DWAC is moving down. So it's down 0.24%. We've been relatively stagnant throughout the day since market open, but Sundial has really been the hero of the day, right? Up 4.7%, getting up above 70 cents per share. So good stuff. And Rivian, experiencing a little volatility, right? Forming a nice little V, kind of along with the markets. That's interesting to see. So good stuff on Rivian as well. And there we go. There's good stuff going on. So that was the first about 30 minutes of market open. If we look at the 30-minute charts, we can see, we can see, all right, Rivian had a little bit of a red bar. The market had a 30-minute bar. The first 30-minute bar in the market was red, but we were much lower at one point. So we'll see if we return to those lows. We're getting close to 392 on the QQQ. And DWAC, my guess is it's going to be a little red. Yeah, a little red bar on DWAC, rebounding right now. And SQQQ, obviously, is just going to be the opposite of QQQ, so slight green bar. Is it actually? Is it a slight? Yeah, it is. Okay, there we go. So we'll see what happens with that SQQQ trade. I am keeping my eye on it. PROG, though, hopefully hasn't fallen too much, so still above 320. That's good. So getting close to the intraday highs. We just have to break 335 for that to happen. Kyle did nothing wrong. People are talking about Kyle. Who is Kyle? I'm not sure. Not sure who Kyle is. I don't keep up too much with the news, but who is Kyle? Most of the news I get is from Joe Rogan, all right? So Silver says, after getting married and selling my first home, I had to start thinking of dividend portfolio. Yeah, that makes sense. I think dividend portfolio is really good, especially it's the best when you have a large amount of capital to throw into it. Because at a certain point, if you have a certain amount of capital, say if you had a couple million to throw into a dividend portfolio, you can just sit back, collect the dividends, never worry about it again. Maybe slowly invest some more money into it over time from the dividends. But if it's comprised of the right stocks, right, and the stocks themselves don't lose value, if they gain value, then a dividend portfolio is definitely the stress-free way to go if you've got enough capital and you just want to live off the interest. It's the easiest way. The companies just pay you out every month or every quarter or every year, depending on how they work. But I certainly like dividend stocks, and I'm already starting up a small fraction of my account into dividends, just because I think it's good to have about 5%, maybe, of your portfolio in specifically dividend stocks that you buy because of the dividends and all that. So Sotos Pizzini's, Rob, your opinion on QS. QuantumScape Corp, up 5% on the day. All right, okay, so they've been rising since earnings, it looks like. Been rising decently. What's the news on this? Okay, so it looks like it's an EV stock, rising on infrastructure news. Let's take a look at the market watch for it and see what they're really all about and what their market cap is. So QS. QuantumScape. All right, they've got a $14.4 billion market cap. They're pretty large, and they engage in the provision of energy storage solutions. It focuses on development of solid-state lithium metal batteries for use in electric vehicles. The company was founded, all right, that doesn't matter. So they work on batteries. Good industry to be in, especially during the EV hype. I'm wary of all these EV stocks, though, over the long term. I think that they're getting very frothy, potentially, right? The whole EV market seems to have a lot of hype surrounding it, but at the end of the day, what they're doing is they're selling cars, and there's only so much that people can pay for cars, and there's only so many cars that people need, and stocks like Tesla that have already far surpassed the size of a lot of other automakers. I mean, obviously Tesla's working on other stuff. They're making much better cars too, with self-driving and all that. So surely there is more value in that, but they're also working on some insurance and whatnot. But I do get very worried about the valuations for EV companies and in the batteries as well. Batteries have more uses than just EVs, granted, but if they're mostly working on batteries for electric vehicles, which is what it says here, then I worry over the long term. The short term, though, you can certainly make a pretty penny with EV stocks and battery stocks as well as the hype continues. You can see in the past, though, they did get super hyped up to 132 before eventually sinking down to $20. So that's the kind of thing that I worry about, right? I worry about massive hype in these companies. And it looks like we might be on another bull run right here for QS. So we'll see if we can't start rising. As the best batteries significantly but haven't proven they can mass produce it. Yes, says Hassan. Okay. That could be good. So if they've got the best battery and if they can figure out how to mass produce it, I could see them rising quite a bit more over the short to midterm. But yeah, over the long term, I just worry about the end and what am I trying to say here? The end, like the end goals of these stocks, right, are to eventually produce profit relative to their price that's large, right? We want to see good PE ratios, and if we don't see those, and if they're just very overvalued in a couple of years and aren't producing that much profit, then it might not be the best for those companies over the long term. So Prabesh says they are not producing until next couple of years. Okay. So Hassan says they made a scientific breakthrough in batteries for EV, recognized scientists worldwide, but have yet to prove it's producible at mass scale. They blew up because they have a deal with Volkswagen. Okay. So yeah, that's good stuff. And they are moving up currently, so yep, and the infrastructure package is probably going to help them out, right? They'll probably get some money from that. But yeah, good stuff for QS over the short to midterm. Over the long term, though, I'm a little wary of all those EV companies, just because they are very hyped up right now. We might be in a little bit of an EV bubble. We might be starting that, or be in it currently, right? We might be nearing the peak. Who knows? People certainly didn't think about it that much with the tech bubble. They weren't too worried about it, it seemed, but you never know when you're in a bubble, so it's tough to say. But EV certainly seems to be getting hyped up a lot, just in terms of, I think, like how profitable they'll be able to be over the long term, right, compared to what their prices and valuations are now. So that's what I think about QS. Now, speaking of EVs, if we pull up Ape Wisdom, you can see Tesla is still the #1 trending stock on Reddit. People are talking about it all over the place. Let's look at Tesla. That's not the Tesla chart. Here's the Tesla chart. So they're up 0.01%, 0.1% now on the day. It looks like they were up bigger in pre-market, and then they started trending down, unfortunately. So they have been trending down throughout the course of the day. Hopefully that doesn't continue. And Silver says, I took my home purchase and rolled it into dividends. I'm making some money in savings as I did working for Lowe's with tons of overtime. So I walked away from my 15 years to day trade. Nice. I think, yeah, day trading can be very profitable if you do it correctly. And SBA is making a little move, says Zach Taylor. So yeah, it's up about 1% on the day. We'll see what happens if it continues. And so does one more, Rob. How about LPI? LPI, yep. LPI. Laredo Petroleum. Yeah, these oil stocks have been doing well lately. Over the past year, it's up quite a bit, up 7x over the past year. So their earnings didn't have too big of an impact on them. It looks like they remained pretty stagnant since then. Let's see what the market is on that one. LPI, Laredo Petroleum. So $1.2 billion market cap, 13 million shares public float, and they engage in exploration, development, and acquisition of oil and natural gas properties. So, they operate in the Permian Basin in West Texas. Okay, so American oil company. Yeah, I mean, these oil companies certainly can rise quite a bit, especially with the way OPEC is going, not increasing oil production. If oil keeps rising in price, these oil companies are just going to be raking in cash. So that is good for them over the next while. I think that we probably will see rising oil prices. Unfortunately, with all the inflation going on, I think we'll probably continue to rise in price with this one. Obviously, you'll have to watch out for the peak in oil prices, right? If we ever hit a peak, you'll want to get out of it because these are very cyclical, right? They move up with oil and down with oil. So over the long term, all these oil companies are probably going out of business once we get fusion or really efficient solar or whatnot. But over the short to midterm, or even the somewhat long term, over the next year or two, if oil keeps going up, these companies will be raking in cash, and their stocks will be soaring. So certainly a good one. Now, obviously, it really depends on how much oil they've got in reserves and all that. If they are looking to run out anytime soon, or if they're still exploring. It says they engage in exploration. So if they hit a big well, then that would be good. If they don't, and people were betting on it, if they were currently exploring a certain area, I don't know specifically what they're engaged in, but they could be good. They could be very volatile, though, if we don't end up finding anything, right? If they don't end up exploring the right places and they can't find any new oil, that could be a risk. But over the long term, I'm bullish on the oil companies. So, anyone here use Ikomuku study today? Swing trade? I do not. Zach, I do not use the Ikomuku Ichimoku study. I don't use that. No. So, Cryptomaniac, AQST, please. Well, I will tell you, I made an AQST video. If you want to look at the channel, I made an AQST video. Did a deep dive on it. At the moment, I'll pull up the video. Actually, I'll pull that up if anyone's interested. I'll pull up the where is it? So let's see. AQST video right here. So I do a deep dive on AQST in this video right here. If you want to search for AQST stock deep dive and catalyst, you can look at it. It's we discussed quite a bit with AQST, and if you are interested, I have not pointed this out in a while, but if in the description of any one of my videos, including this live stream, there is a link that you can click that takes you to Webull, and you can open up an account and get up to $2,300 worth of free stocks. So get 2 free stocks worth up to $2,300 when you open an account with Webull using this referral link. You just have to click the link. It takes you to this page right here where it says get your 2 free stocks today. Here's how you open your Webull brokerage account and get your first free stock, and then direct deposit any amount and you'll get another free stock. So it could be a penny that you direct deposit, and those stocks are valued up to $2,300. So a decent way to get some free cash or stock, I guess, if you haven't already opened up a Webull account. But for AQST, I encourage you to check this video out. But it's I explain it in the video. So Sotos wants DRNK. Yep, we'll take a peek at DRNK. And we are, unfortunately, getting close to the end of the stream. Wow, so fraction of a cent right here. This one's fallen. So, yeah, wow. This one fell quite a bit. And very, very cheap, it looks like. That's an interesting one. But let's see, DRNK. What is this company? NoHo Inc. Over the counter. So, $7 million market cap. Have we looked at this one before? I think we might have. Very risky. Something this cheap. It's over the counter. You could certainly make a lot of money with it, but it has just been downtrending, unfortunately. But $7 million market cap, you could certainly make quite a bit if that happened to pop. So, not necessarily a bad play, but little too risky for me, right? Something this cheap, a little too risky. I mean, just to throw money into it. But not much to say other than I can't even find a company profile on it. It's so small. But it's in a downtrend, and if you think we might get a pop in price, it might be worth buying in right before. But we are slowly, perpetually just losing value. It looks like over the past couple of months. So tough to say with this one. $7 million market cap is very small. Jordan Israel Peterson. All right, Rob. Peace. Yep, we'll be ending the stream pretty soon. We'll be looking at FAMI, and then we'll be ending the stream after we take a peek at FAMI. I would like to do these streams. I have enjoyed doing these streams for long periods of time, but my eyes are starting to suffer a little bit. Ambition, Rob logged in just to give you a like today. Have a great day. I'm out in field today. All right, Ambition, have a good one. I appreciate the like. Have a good one, though. We're about to end the stream, actually. So you're just in the nick of time. We're going to take a peek at FAMI, and then we'll end the stream. All right, so FAMI, up 1%, right? So what we're looking at with FAMI over the past month about, around here when they ended up spiking up big in price, this was because they acquired a forestry company, expanded their business model into the health and wellness space, and formed some strategic partnerships with supply chain for their supply chain, right? So they pumped up big and have since been waning a little bit, but I think that eventually the fruits of those partnerships and mergers and acquisitions are going to end up leading to a rise in FAMI price. So this is more of a long-term hold, right? Obviously, if we could get past 50 cents, we could be in for a decent run. We have run up to 247 in the past, so we'll see what happens with FAMI, but I'm just holding it for more mid to long-term outlook, right? I'm hoping that we'll eventually start trending up instead of just stagnating around in between 30 and 40 cents. I'm hoping that we'll start breaking out through past 40 and mostly past 50, right? That's what I'm really looking for, because that could be a big run that we get off of some hype there. So that's what we've got with FAMI. Still holding my shares, but that's what we're doing. That's what this stream was all about. We're looking to end the stream now, so give my eyes a break. I've been doing this, and I noticed, unfortunately, stuff was starting to look a little bit blurrier. Because I am now looking at the screen for a very long period of time. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys logging in every day. It looks like we've got a good community going, so I will be looking to start up a Discord at some point. I will get to that, I promise. And look out for some other videos I'll be releasing later today. So other than that, guys, have a great one. I'll see you tomorrow, and happy Veterans Day. Bye.